Mislav came from Zagreb, and he's going to talk about the edge of leadership. So all of Mislav's talks are very interesting. He likes to talk with the audience, and he's awesome. So go for it.
Thanks, Brian, for this introduction. Okay. So, have you ever wondered what happens with ex-Traeger developers who poke their nose into everything, who keep asking questions nobody else dares to ask, and who are surprisingly sincerely interested in the well-being of the company? Well, apparently, those developers stop doing development, and they get promoted to some sort of managerial positions. As Bojan said, I'm Mislav, I'm from Zagreb. I'm a developer slash team lead slash gun for hire. I'm professional in the IT industry for a bit under 10 years. And during that time, I switched several companies and switched even more teams. I came here to talk about team leadership, a position I was proud to hold in several of those teams. And I also came here to admit that most of the time I was lost. Most of the time I had no idea what I was doing. I'm a person that always tries to face my fears, such was this to speak at a large conference in front of all of you. When I get a chance to face my fears, I jump in on that. I'm actually kind of push it to get to there. But this conference talk and my leadership, it was just one of things in a long line of me doing the shruggy. With zero formal training and relying on my intuition and on advices from people smarter than me, I've more or less successfully led my teams to their goals. On that path, I've learned tremendously, improved myself and hopefully my teams. I would like to share with you today some advices I picked up along the way and some advices I wish someone told me before I embarked on this path. The Peter Principle states that people in corporate structures are promoted until they reach their level of incompetence. In other words, every time you get a promotion, and this is especially important for big promotions, you're actually on the edge of not being able to do your new job. Up till now, you're an expert in your field, and now you'll probably wonder, am I ready for this? This voice in the back of your head and other voices around you that's saying that they think that you can do it is a clear sign that you should do it and you should take the leap. What's the worst thing that can happen? You will never be 100% certain that this is the right decision, but if you were, it wouldn't be on the edge. Being a lead in any way, in any form, is not a new upgraded job of the one you had before. It's almost entirely new job. You're still within the same business domain, but now you're outside of your safe zone. You need to cater to new roles and wear new hats, and some roles that you weren't even aware that they exist within your company. First role is a familiar one, but now it's got a twist. I'll start this one off with a story. I got hired to be a team lead for a team of around 5 or 6 developers. And the deal with management was that 20% of my time I'll deal with team management stuff and 80% I'll do development. It was a small team, so it was actually something to expect. 2 months in, I wrote 4 lines of code. So be prepared of what you are getting yourself into. Know what this position actually brings. And you need to realize that you're not a code monkey anymore. Now you're expected to be the architect, the organizer, the decision maker, and more than anything, the reviewer. You're placed in this position to produce more code than ever, just not anymore with your own hands. So if you are not producing this code, who is? Which leads us to hiring. For the first interview I sat in, I explicitly asked to be included, actually. And soon my wish was granted. I don't know who sweated more, me or the candidate in front of me. So you know how it goes in the interview. The candidate gets in. I was at the time with my colleague from HR, and she asked the candidate, would you like something to drink? And when the problem is, when I'm nervous, I drink a lot of water, like this, for instance. So she asked the candidate, would you like something to drink, some water or anything? And I was trying to blink with my eyes in Morse code, please bring me a bucket. I was so worried that I will look like a fool in front of the candidate that I just, half the time, I didn't even listen to them. I spent more time worrying how smart I look, and it made a complete mess in my head. But soon, after a few interviews, unfortunately, in some things, especially new things, I'm not the quickest learner, I guess, I got to a realization that I'm not the one who needs to look smart. The candidate is. So I became the good cop. I became the guy who nods along to their explanation, who asks and tells funny jokes or something like that, or just going me too to their stories. By reducing the pressure on the candidate, I actually got a more honest face. I got a more honest face of a person and more of their personality. Because I have one golden rule when I'm actually looking to hire someone is not an ass. That can be taught, but the whole culture fit and the whole personality, it's very hard to change that. That is, of course, a problem for me because I'm not very good at reading people. Sometimes in social interactions, I feel like a deer in headlights. And interviewing for me, and I'm guessing for most of the people who had a good chance to try it out, just doesn't come naturally. It's a skill that improves with practice, but a scary thing for a developer is that's actually trial and error in production. You don't get a second chance with that developer or anything. And because of this is trial and error in production, I devised a plan to actually make questions beforehand. From each question, make another possible pathway that leads to another question, and so forth and so forth. All that to have smooth back and forward with the candidate. Half of the questions I don't even ask, and that's okay. You assume the candidate took time to prepare, so it's only polite for you to do the same. And so, you go through all this, you hire someone, everything is great, until it is not. This is the other side of the coin, the other side of being a lead, and something a lot of people are not actually talking about. Luckily, I only had to do it once, and I'm not sure if there is a way to do it gently. And you should look at it as the last resort solution. When you're talking with your teammates, when you're doing reviews, have also negative reviews. People often just don't want to hurt other people's feelings and focus on the good stuff, but people want to hear if something is not working with the rest of the team. They want to change, they want to do their best, maybe they're just not aware of what they're doing. Just fire a few warning shots before you pull the trigger. After you pull the trigger, the most important thing is, and I did this one right, after this conversation with the developer, immediately afterwards I had to set up a meeting with the rest of the team. I explained to the rest of the team what happened and why it happened. This is a big change in your team, especially if it's another large team. It disturbs the whole team dynamics, so you need to ease your team with information about it. Okay, back to happier topics. Now you have your team, you hired some, you got assigned few developers, and hopefully you fired none. And when I first started being a team lead, I did one thing extremely wrong, one thing that I'm still ashamed of until this day. I did the estimates, I did the issue, put all the issues, and I started to assign. And I selfishly assigned all the fun, new, and complex problems to myself. It came from a place of, me being selfish, but it also came from a place where I didn't trust the team enough. And of course, soon that became a problem. I became the bottleneck of the whole project. My error here was that I didn't listen to the team enough. There were members on the team that could have done this, who were interested in this, but they just didn't speak out or didn't want to speak out. And I didn't listen. So ask your teammates, ask them what they want to work on. If you can, accommodate them. If you cannot, explain why. Get to know each team member and get to know their strengths and weaknesses, and give out tasks accordingly. But work on the sixth sense and push people in directions maybe they didn't even want to know. Devs are often quiet, so you need to read people's mind in a way. Try to read your team's inner dynamics. You have actually a group of individuals. See who works best with whom. Fortify existing relationships and work on establishing new ones. That can only benefit your team and the company as a whole. In extreme situations, you're probably just going to do triage. And this is the time where especially is visible if you know your team or not. Assign the burning issue to developers and don't ping them non-stop. Don't add more stuff to the trash pile. Let them do what they do best. Solve problems. But this, for me, everyday delegation and in delegation in extreme situations creates a very weird feeling. I'm in control, but I control nothing. I'm responsible, but I don't directly do anything tangible. Success of my job is solely based on the success of others. And that can be scary. And sometimes I find myself thinking, people are the worst. It's a horrible notion if you're a people manager and if you work with people in any way. But for instance, let's call this a made-up situation. Your production database is breached. You got a hacker demanding ransom, and the developer who set up that production database and environment 3 days ago just says, yeah, I'm going to get a haircut right now. It's hard not to hate the whole humankind at that moment. But with a good team, a team you trust, a team you work long and hard to earn the trust, another thought comes to mind. People are the best. People love being heroes. People love to shine. You just have to give them the opportunities. So be the Alfred to your Batmans, be Jarvis to your Iron Mans, and clear the road in front of them. Open the doors they cannot open themselves, and get rid of the mundane tasks they don't feel like working on. And trust your team. Trust is something that is hugely built through communication. The most obvious communication is one-on-one, and you can have that scheduled or not. In my experience, scheduled works better, because if you're not scheduling it, it's probably never happening. Just don't do it too often or keep it running for too long. These one-on-ones work both ways. You're not just the one asking questions. In those one-on-ones, you need to open yourself too. You need to place yourself in a position where you are vulnerable. Let your guard down and speak honestly with your team member at that point. With group meetings, learn how to lead and moderate them. Know who should be in a meeting and who shouldn't. Some time ago, I was in a meeting of around 10 developers. I was just a regular developer. At that point, I didn't lead. So all of a sudden, just two developers started to talk about something that's strictly related to them. And it was a video conference call. I was at home. I had my wireless headphones on, so yeah, I turned off the camera and just went to the kitchen and made myself a cup of tea. I still hear them, so there's no problem. I got back and they're still talking about it, nothing moves, so I folded the laundry. I put the laundry in the closet. I went to the bathroom, put a fresh load in the washing machine. I did the dishes. And just when I was about to take out the vacuum, people started to say goodbye, and yeah, that's it. When you're leading these meetings, I have a general rule of thumb: if a discussion is happening for longer than 2 or 3 minutes between just a small part of the participants, stop it. That it should be a separate meeting. After successful meetings or meetings of any kind, actually make like a too long did not read document that will capture key discussions but also key decisions. That way you have a backlog of conversations, because I'm guessing most people don't record video conference calls. If they do, nobody ever watches that. It's a great way for other teams in the company and for team members who weren't able to attend to actually know what is happening. I have a nice bonus tip I actually picked up really recently from a client. They tend to start every meeting with a random question. That question can range from which animal describes you today to what's the weirdest thing in your fridge. And it instantly sets a fun and playful vibe. Everybody's talking about the same topic, and you have instant team cohesion out of the box. As a good leader, you need to recognize your team successes, accomplishments, and these praises are a great way to increase your team mood and increase their engagement. Celebrate progress, but don't start handing out silly participation trophies. But don't force on the big stuff also. Big stuff is obvious that it's a good thing, so aim for the small wins, aim for the things that people are working on that's maybe somewhere in the background but add value to the company. And we are giving public praises. Explain what are you praising exactly. It shows that you care, actually. I'm going to close now because this is a short talk, but there are many more roles and many more situations and many more hats to wear. But yeah, this is a 25-minute talk. And I would just like for you to take home this final few tidbits I would like to share. Learn and continue learning, because obviously if you came this far, you are good at learning. Just replace part of the dev articles with leadership articles. Trust is something that is earned very slowly, but it can corrode very easily. One of the best ways to earn your trust is to protect your team. Either is from C-level, from pesky clients and customers, from stakeholders of any kind. So continue asking those questions your team members don't want to ask. Don't avoid hard discussions and don't avoid big decisions. Be open about them and share them with your team. If you can, democratize decision-making and make everybody feel included. Encourage discussion, but also one key factor that there is know when to end. I'm Mislav, and this was On the Edge of Leadership.
Good. Okay. Good job, Mislav. Okay, we have a lot of questions.
Okay.
I'm gonna approve everything now, and you can go very fast through them.
Okay. Do you approach your coworkers as friends or just keep it professionally? Yeah, I'm a friendly person by nature, so yeah, I approach them friendly. But it's kind of harder to do it in a remote team. I'm fully remote for the past year, and it helps to just get together with with remote team members at least once, because now they're a real person. Now they're not just virtual people behind camera. Yeah, as I said, I'm a friendly guy, so yeah. Okay, how do you deal with...
Do fast. So
Okay, how do you deal with too motivated people? The ones who are with high motivation that affects on their task completely negatively. Yeah, I had people working for 10 to 12 hours without me asking them to do it. There was no burning issue. I had that situation, and I encouraged them to just do anything else, and explicitly in one-on-ones that keep telling them, slow down, take a break, slow down. Some took the advice. I know one developer who took it from like 11 hours, who took it down a notch to 9 hours a day. It was something. Maybe if we worked together for a few more months, maybe I could have got him to work, but he was just like that, very energetic. Okay?
We don't have time for everything.
Okay.
But you can skim through them, or maybe you guys can upvote if you see something that's very interesting. Like, where's the animal one? I don't know if you can see it.
Which animal best describes you today?
Okay, let's answer this one. Which one are you gonna go for?
My spiritual animal is a penguin, so I like to be the penguin guy. Okay, I know. Stress and burnout, yeah, it's a thing. We heard about it today. It happened to me. Last year I had, actually, like a year and a half ago, I realized that it hit me because I started to I was this close to shouting at everyone, so I just took a few days off. Yeah, it was just clean cut, and then brain reset, went to nature, did nothing.
I also removed moderation because I just can't.
Yeah.
Okay, are we gonna finish? Or is there anything that you particularly like here?
Let me just get the long one.
No, the long one's too long to read, man. It's like...
Okay, I can go. How can you transition?
Huh? What?
Yeah.
Transition? How do you transition?
I live mostly like fake it till you make it. That's how I transitioned. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to end here.
All right, thank you very much,
thank you. So, why am I attending and why did I have a talk? So, I wanted to be a part of a conference, of an international conference of this size, but not just as a spectator. I actually wanted to have my first proper talk, and I felt like this is a perfect opportunity for me to share some things I learned along these past years. I'm a person who actually lives in this community and lives in the Python community, try to be as much into it as I can, and these events, I just live for them during the year, yeah.